My name is LaShaun Jackson. I am the co-founder and CEO of Circle Foundation. I also am a co-founder and CEO of a company called Good to Go Veggie. But my major work as far as Circle Foundation is to lead the organization, carry the vision and the mission. Well, the short vision and mission of all of it together is to inspire, motivate, and empower people to achieve their highest potential. We believe that everyone has innate potential to live their best life, and sometimes people need support or guidance or inspiration, motivation, or ways to empower them to do that. So that's the mission of the Circle Foundation. Well, my first introduction to community service probably started in high school. I didn't do a lot of community service, but I saw the need for it. When I went to college, I was offered a scholarship. I was in an Upward Bound program, and I seen how people were giving back. And at that point, I saw the necessity of it, especially for my community. Through college, I did some volunteer stuff. I joined different organizations that were community-based and trying to help out. And then when I first went to college, I was an engineering major. I switched my major in my freshman year to psychology because I felt that I could have more impact in my life purpose in that field. And so coming out of college, I went right into social work. I did a lot of things in education, but my background was in psychology, so I worked primarily in social work, which led me to understanding the need to have a social, emotional component to education. And that's when I kind of went as a consultant into education to help people kind of understand that dynamic and how it impacts learning. Yeah, that's a very interesting story how innovation started and how Circle Foundation started. So I was working as an independent contractor to go into schools to help them learn how to work with at-risk youth. The one school I went into was called Bronzeville Academic Center, and they had me come in to kind of work with the administration on primarily stress management and organization, because it was a very stressful job dealing with youth who are in danger of violence, some of them participating in the violence, and actually trying to provide resources for them to get focused on education. So I was working with the administration. And at that time, the principal of the school was fired. And they asked me to run the school. And I was like, well, I don't want to run the school, but I'll help you find a principal. And long story short, I ended up running the school. But as I went on, I got my partner, who turned out to be the co-founder of Circle Foundation, to come in and support me on that endeavor. The organization we were working with closed down in 2008. Well, actually 2009, when the economy kind of crashed. So at that time, myself and Omar Moore decided to open our own nonprofit called Circle Foundation. Circle Foundation was founded on the principles that I kind of explained earlier, and we went and pretty much took on the school, the contracts, and everything that the organization that was closing down. We took on those contracts. In the process of taking on those, we changed the name of the school to Innovations High School. And everything came up under the organization called Circle Foundation, which is our nonprofit 501c3. Yeah, so education, as we see it, and when I say we, I'm talking about it administratively, is an evolving process right now. It's going through a phase of change. As we came in the education system, and I was trained through the education system, it was based on an old concept from the Industrial Revolution, right? You train people to do what they need to do to get your business off the ground. So it was pretty much telling people what to do so they can get a job. Nowadays, we live in not the industrial age, but the innovative age of information. And so education has to be different, right? Whereas we had to learn math, science, a kid can Google any math and science question right now and get the answer. So the crux of education right now is not necessarily finding the answer. It's what's the purpose of the answer and what to do with it, and how to use that answer to promote success in your life as well as success in other people's lives. So for us, education, when we say innovations, we're finding ways that students can use information and education now to make a better world for themselves and for everyone else. So for us, that's the crux of what education needs to be. It's not just about getting a diploma. There's a transition right now in society where people are just understanding what this really means in real time, because youth are coming in not so engaged in the old concept of education. You don't need to tell them how to add and subtract. Well, you do need to tell them that, but it's how do you tell them, what do you tell them the uses of it is, and how does it support their life? So what we do at Innovations is have a student-focused, student-centered learning. There are several components to what we do because many of our students come to us from a challenging background. They've had struggles with education or in their lives in some form or fashion. And so not only are we trying to introduce them to new concepts of learning and how to use that, but we have to help them find stability in their lives so that when they get these concepts, they can actually use them. So the job is can be very challenging if you don't come at the work from a right disposition. And the right disposition, we believe, is that the student knows where they want to go. We just have to help them pull that out of them, which is originally what the word education means, to pull something out of somebody, not to train them and tell them what to do. And so that's what Innovations is about. We have very flexible schedules. We try to align our courses to something that the student-centered, something that impacts their life in real time, not something that's just historic or something that, you need to know this because everybody else knows it. You need to know it because it impacts your life and the people around you. And, this is why education is important. So that's the philosophy we come with, and that's why we're called Innovations. Many of the people that I interact with throughout my life have touched me all in some type of way. Some in different aspects of my life. So some have touched me in developing my philosophy on life. Others have touched me in making myself more skillful as a leader. Others have touched me in making myself a better mentor, a better father, a better husband. So I don't tend to look at life as this person did this and this is why I am who I am. Although certainly there have been people who have profoundly touched me. But I also believe in the people that have touched my life in not such a deep manner, but also have pivoted me to the direction that I'm in now. So I would say everyone that I come in contact with touched me in some way to create who I am today. Absolutely. There are many misconceptions about the youth that we serve today. There's a total disconnect between this young generation and the older generation, and this is where the misconceptions come in. I hear a lot of times, I don't know how you work with those kids, or these kids aren't going to be anything. They won't pull up their pants. They don't do what we tell them, things like that. But then, I think people have short memories because all of us have been kids, all of us have been teenagers, and we've all had the same response from adults. I think the difference is now is that everything is right in front of your face. Kids can't go hide and do their stuff. Kids are doing their stuff on the internet and you see it all in time. Whereas back in the day, you had to get caught and now, you go hide again. Everything's in your face. I believe this generation and the generations forthcoming will be the generations that helps heal the world. Whether they do that through revolt and ways that we don't necessarily agree with, or whether they do that through innovation and ways that we can kind of align with, is going to happen because we're at a critical state. So the misconception is that these students can't be helped. They're a lost cause. They don't want help. They don't want education, and all of them want help and education and guidance. It's just that they will not get it from people who they don't feel worthy, right? They don't want it from people who are giving them something that they don't feel is going to forward them in real time. They're a generation that deals with in the moment. Our parents and even myself, I would come from a generation who dealt with work hard and you'll get it. There's a fine point between those two realities. the people that live in the moment and the people that work for a long-term stuff. And this is where we have to meet this generation to bridge so they can understand the importance of hard work, dedication, long-term visions. And the older generation like us need to understand the importance of the moment of now and what we have to do in this now moment. And I think that if we can understand that, we can understand the children more, and both us and the youth will have a better dialogue. But until we get to that point, well, we stop thinking we have all the answers, or they stop thinking they have all the answers, it's going to always be this divide. Yeah, so Circle Foundation, when we took over the school, we developed a nonprofit, not just a school. Our vision, myself and the co-founder, has always been to give back to our community. When we went to college, we were the products of the city. And through that, we made a lot of mistakes. And even after college, I could say we were still the products of the city. But we understand how not to become a product of your environment, how to create an environment that's a product of you. And so Circle Foundation is more than just a school. Our goal is to impact the city and then the world. So right now we've had the opportunity to take over 2 buildings. It's called the Benton House. And the building we're sitting in now has a gymnasium in it. And it's a building down the street that has offices that run different programs, a food pantry and things like that. We've been blessed to come a hold to these buildings and come to this community where we can extend our services to the youth and to the people of this community, but also to make this kind of like an empowerment hub for the city. That's our vision. So what we'll be doing is running programs through here, extending our programs from downtown to the south side of Chicago, offering the services in this building and the building down the street to the community, but as well as to other people in Chicago. One of the greater things I think that happened out of COVID is that we've learned to connect when we're not around each other. We don't have to be in front of each other for us to give and serve each other. So we hope that this hub not only is able to serve this direct community, but communities around it and communities in Chicago. We look to have our not ownership, but we look to be full throttle and doing our programs in these buildings within the next month or so. This Benton House has a heritage in the Bridgeport community, or I would say on the edge of the Bridgeport community. Traditionally, it was a white community, but now we see it as a very diverse community. There are Blacks, whites, Asians, Latinx. There are all types of people living in this community. And one of the things that I like about that is that you get to serve a broad range of people. One of the things that I feel changed my life in college was seeing a broad range of cultures, while still understanding more about my own culture. And I think that part has to stick. You cannot just go out and be multicultural without having a grounded understanding of who you are. And so we hope that the services that we bring to this community support people getting to know each other, but also supports the individual cultures that we serve, that they can express who they are fully. And that's what all different types of race, religion, creed, cultures, ethnicities. We want to be able to support individualism, but also interdependence. Yeah, COVID was a very challenging period for everyone. There's no need to even discuss the challenges because we know what those are. But in our high school, we had a slogan this year: in the midst of chaos, there's also opportunity. And we came through the pandemic keeping that focus in mind. We were able to get a large donation from Goldman Sachs through the period of COVID that has given us leverage to have a little more stability in our organization. I was also able to move a lot more freely and not have to be in one place, which was able to help me leverage relationships so we can get buildings like this to support our programming. I think that one of the things that will happen out of COVID is that the world will move forward in a different way. and that we can see that in our individual lives and also in the organizations that we work in. And we're hoping to keep leveraging the positive aspects of what's going down in the world right now to serve the world and our communities better. I think, and I know, I'm most proud of the personal development that I've made in my life. Not just from the businesses I've been able to open and the success I've been able to achieve individually, but from the lives I've been able to touch from my own growth. I know where I come from mentally, emotionally, and physically. I know where my family comes from. Pretty much, we're a generation out of poverty. And I'm very proud that I can stand as a man today, being the type of man I am, coming from the type of man I could have been. I'm proud mostly to be a family man. I think that that's, as a Black man in America, coming from the inner city, is extremely important for our youth to see a successful Black man with a family, with a wife, with children, not just, showing that he has money and I have a business and I'm a boss. That concept, we don't need that anymore. We need the concept of, okay, he's a responsible guy. I'm proud of these organizations that I've been able to build with teams. I'm proud of the teams that we have at the organizations I work with, because there's no organization without a team. I'm proud to see the people that I've worked with over the last 20 years also develop themselves in many capacities through Circle Foundation or through just relationships that I've had with them. I'm proud of where we're going. I'm proud of how much we've accomplished when most people that are in our situation have really struggled. We've succeeded in many ways, and I'm proud of those accomplishments. I feel that everybody has a purpose in life, and this is just part of my purpose. I was born at this time in this body to do this work, and I know it from the inner recesses of my soul, because when I do the work, I feel fulfilled. I feel fulfilled in giving back and giving service to those who need it. I come from a background where people reach back for me, and many people helped me to get where I am today, and I feel the obligation to kind of do the same thing. What motivates me is I have a vision of what I want to be as a man before I leave this earth, and every day I feel that I have to achieve that in some capacity, to the capacity that I can do it now. Maybe I can't feed 1 billion people right now, but if I can successfully feed 100 people, I'm fulfilled. So what motivates me is accomplishing the reason I was born. Yeah, I think it's important that people understand Circle Foundation, our largest work program is Innovations High School. So most people know us for the high school. But Innovations in itself is a very complex organization. I want people to know about the other work we do with our mentoring programs. We have several mentoring programs that are impacting lives of students. And those programs need to get just as much notoriety as the high school. So I encourage people to look at our website and see those programs and support those as well as they do the Innovations High School. This new project with Benton House and this community that we're moving into, I'm hoping that people can see the work that we're going to do here, and also support that. And I know that the future of Circle Foundation will be even more than these programs that we have now. I look at organizations like Aunt Martha's or just different organizations in the city of Chicago that have, or A.D.S. McKinley, that have impacted the city so much. And they started out from small organizations and they're branched all over the city, giving back and doing the work. And that's the vision that we have for Circle Foundation, that we can grow and support communities all over the city. I hope that people will see me as kind of a Renaissance man. I kind of frame my life every time I wake up to be this type of person that moves things forward. but also holds on to strong traditions that are important. So I hope people see me as not, I think one of the biggest things I want people to see me as not being the typical social servant, right? History kind of paints them as very corny people. And I am corny in a lot of aspects, but I'm also a very real person. I have a real life. I make real mistakes. I have real family. I have real friends. So I hope in my legacy that no matter whatever picture they paint me as, good or bad, that they understand I was a real person and that I grew from where I came from to wherever I leave this place through hard work, dedication, and focus. And I've always been focused on that question: what will my legacy be? And I hope that the organizations I build, my family, everybody I impact can be a reflection of who I was, or how I impacted them, you know. So, you know, if I was at my funeral, I would want people to say, you know what, he was this kind of way. And there would be so many different people coming up saying different things, but the core of it was that I was a loving, giving person.